Welcome to Somewhere in October. I'm Alex. Today we're going to talk about Companion 2025. I just saw it in theaters. For a heads up for anybody who hasn't seen it, the first half will be no spoilers. I'll give you a quick little summary, who I think will like it, things like that. When I'm going to get into more of a spoiler discussion, I'll give you a heads up. This movie for me didn't warrant two separate videos, so I'm going to put them all in one. Let me know if you like this format and if you would prefer it going forward. It also depends. If I really like a movie and I want to do like a deep dive thought process, I'm probably going to do it anyway. So let's get into the non-spoiler review first. Also, I hope you're enjoying. I'm really getting my background together. I'm starting to create something. It's messy. It's a work in progress. Just deal with me. So if you haven't even watched a trailer and you want to go in completely blind, don't watch any of this video because the trailer reveals, again, last warning, click off. The trailer reveals that Iris, or the girl in this poster in this movie, she is a sex robot. I guess that's the correct term to use. I don't really know what to call it. I think it's more of like a full committed relationship robot, but whatever. They gave this away in the trailer, so I was a little bit skeptical because with Abigail, I kind of wanted that to be a surprise. The opening dialogue and kind of walkthrough and story, I was a little bit confused. I was a little bit frustrated because I was like, do we really need all this? They're just going to work up to a reveal we already know. I was being a little bit of a negative Nancy, and then I realized, oh, I should have shut my mouth and just enjoyed the movie. What they revealed to you was strategic. How they set everything up, all the dialogue, all the details, it's necessary. So even in moments where you're like, what am I watching? Well, just let it happen. Just enjoy it. I really like this movie. It doesn't have a huge cast of characters, but enough that you can get really ingrained with them. Very different personalities, lots of twists and turns. And when it comes to dealing with the sex robot and the technology of it, they do a really good job. They do a really, really good job with that. It's definitely not taking itself too seriously. Like, some stuff is just so silly. Jack Quaid is really great in this. Is it Sophie Thatcher? Is that her name? That is Iris. She's really great in this. She does really well with being a humanoid robot, we'll call her, because sometimes they show movements that are a little bit awkward, but she's not completely robotic. It doesn't get very horrific. It's, of course, more of a thriller. But there are some scenes that I'm like, holy crap, what are we watching? It's just really great. I'm kind of skeptical when it comes to anything that's like AI or robots because it's so overdone to the point where there's no original thought. This was great. This was great. I really, really like this movie. I will say, I don't know if it's necessary to see it in theaters. It's not anything that I think is wow on the big screen. But if you really want to go see it and get in on the conversation or just support it by going to theaters, then you should do so. But if you want to wait for streaming, if that's more comfortable for you, this is the movie to make that sacrifice. Definitely worth a watch, but let's get into the spoiler review. So if you haven't watched it, here's your time to click off. Don't worry, who cares about the algorithm? If you don't want to see spoilers, leave. So one thing I want to say about this is I love Jack Quaid, okay? I love him as an actor. Think I'm saying his name right. I never get names right, guys. But this movie made me hate him. So that's how you know that he did a good job. They did great character development writing. I could not stand him. I mean, I was rooting for the robots the entire movie. I'd be interested to hear if you were rooting for the people and not the robots. I could not the entire movie. Even before the twist of the dark plot was revealed, I still was rooting for Iris. I couldn't help it. I really liked the setup. I was initially frustrated. We had a lot of dialogue. We were meeting a lot of people. There's a lot of memories being shown. And I was really confused because I was like, how the hell do you meet your sex robot in a grocery store? I felt awkward in a lot of places just with the dynamics, but it makes sense. If you're taking a sex robot around a bunch of people and acting like they're a real person, it's going to be weird if not everybody's accepting, which not everybody is going to be. At this first part, I'm like, I kind of wish they kept the reveal a secret, especially because after the whole Sergey incident, Jack says, Iris, go to sleep. And when she's freaking out and she just powers off, that is such a powerful shot. But when you get further into the movie, of course you accept why they didn't reveal it to you because there was much more to it. As soon as the whole Sergey thing was happening, there's like this weird thing in my mind about like consent for robots. It's such a weird topic to approach, but like this robot is also built to love link one person. So it is really off-putting for somebody else to come onto them. So it's just like an interesting, like it felt like a revenge moment. It made me uncomfortable as a woman, and I was just like, you know what, he deserved it. But at the same time, like, she is a sex robot. Like, did he really deserve it? I don't know. Weird thoughts in my head. This gave me a lot of complex emotions, but I also found it hilarious that when they dropped out the robot Iris was playing, like it was such an awkward, stupid funny that it worked. They weren't trying to be super comedic. Their characters weren't hilarious. They were just weird, normal people who said weird things. I like awkward comedy, even though I have trouble sitting in awkwardness. We find out that Jack, you jailbroke your sex robot, but yeah, he basically did. And I like this because you know people are doing that. Because there's definitely going to be limitations to robots, and people are going to want them to do something else, whether that be something for their own entertainment or, like this, for nefarious reasons. This is not a stretch to believe somebody would do this. It's actually kind of clever of a plan if it would have worked out, but of course it didn't. When they're divvying up the money, and is his name Eli? Sorry guys, I'm so bad with names, even in movies, I forget like the next day. I'm gonna go with Eli. If I'm wrong, you know who I'm talking about. Eli's like, oh, let's split it between 4 people. And they start talking like it's the most ridiculous thing ever, and they say something really insulting in front of Patrick's face. And I was like, I would go off. It was a reveal to me. Some people guessed it from the trailer. I had no idea Patrick was a robot. Okay? I had no idea. And now it kind of makes that first part of the dialogue about the meet cute, like when did you know? Because their meet cute sounded so cheesy and corny, probably something AI wrote up. Like it makes sense for it to be so cheesy. There's a really big tone in this movie of manipulation. So one, they're manipulating their robots, they're manipulating their programming, they're also manipulating them in conversation. They're manipulating how they use them, like when he then syncs Patrick with him and kind of just erases everything else. But they're also manipulating each other. Like there's so much manipulation going on. It's so dirty. I mean, they manipulated Sergey. They were trying to manipulate Eli. He wasn't in on the plan. And then Jack and Kat are having a weird thing. Jack is insufferable in this, I have to say. But his name is Josh in this, but he's supposed to be. All right, I know he's not like that. We hope. My actual initial prediction were that Patrick and Iris were going to love link each other, and then they were going to like be able to override everything. The one worry I had with this is in a lot of robot or AI scenarios, they either get too smart that they gain control or they like gain consciousness. And I just think that that's outdated in terms of people aren't bringing anything original to it. And it always is a little bit too far-fetched. I'm saying this as a horror viewer when I accept so many other things, but it's like, okay, we get it. They became too powerful. Try something new. And this was so good. They integrated the actual technology so well. She gets the phone, she manipulates her voice to use the car. Even like the car technology, it's not that simple. He can report it stolen. She changes her language, the intelligence change, and it always comes back to him still having some form of control. She is never able to escape her remote control, which I think would have made this movie a lot less interesting if the rules were broken. I love that they stuck to the rules. I love that they stuck to the controls. And I love that when she does gain self-control, it's because she got someone to manipulate the system for her. We never move past the bounds of her programming. It always had to do with programming. I have so much respect for that, and it made it a great movie because of it. And we also see how dangerous it can be when you're like playing around with this. I mean, they turn Patrick to 100% aggression. Also, Luke Gage, I believe that's his name, phenomenal job in this. 100% aggression. And he's like, oh, can you stop Kat? Stop her. Don't let her leave. Which is also like, he's just a shitty human being. Not just to robots. He's not just controlling the robots. He's controlling the people. We see this too. And then he goes up and he's like, oh, I'll stop her. Stabs. And he's like, well, you told me to stop her, and I'm 100% aggressive. Of course I'm going to do that. And I like that he's just digging himself a hole. When you're playing with things you don't understand, you can make things go really wrong. You do not know what you're risking, especially with a robot, They got functions. They can do stuff. And I really did love how they couldn't lie, and I love how they played into that in the movie, especially like when she's talking to the cop, but she's speaking in German, but she's admitting everything. Or when she's telling Patrick what happened, and he's like, that can't be, and she's like, I can't lie. Robot S word, I can't say that word, you know what I mean? Crazy, crazy. Sad that Patrick ended up that way. I also love when they revealed, like, he got her to shoot herself. She did say no, because you can tell that there is acknowledgement of her feelings still as a robot, but also, like, we're staying true to the technology, she has to do it, so she does it. I love the reveal was like, you didn't read the user agreements, because we all know we don't read them, and that everything is stored in her belly. And in the van, they had the discussion about, like, oh, people do really weird things with their robots. We've read the stories. People already with AI, people already with robots are doing some weird things with them, okay? That's what's going to happen. But there was so much interesting commentary and weird emotions about how he was treating Iris. Like, I felt sorry for her. It felt icky. It felt abusive, like, it felt weird, but she's also a robot. I have so many mixed emotions about it, but I'm also the kind of person when I use a chatbot, I say please and thank you, okay? If I'm talking to Alexa, I'm like, please, thanks, have a great day. And listen, that's habit, but you know what I mean. It's kind of funny how we can really humanize things and have these weird feelings. And I'm like, my logic is saying it doesn't make sense. But also, if you're looking at somebody who looks like they're feeling real emotion, looks like a real person, and you can still disregard them so much. I don't know, man. I don't know. It kind of freaks me out. I wouldn't be able to do it personally, but I think this movie had a lot of great action, even though it had a smaller cast. I think the chases, how everything played in, there was like small injuries, bigger injuries. It wasn't super horrific. I mean, the ending was chef's kiss. I had to be honest, I did guess that ending because there was just so much emphasis on that like electric corkscrew, whatever it's called. It's funny because my mom got one for Christmas. So it was really like stuck in my head every time I seen it. But they really foreshadowed that. It was kind of obvious, but I still enjoyed to see it. But what I did like about this movie is it kept ending and then been like, oh, no, we're not done yet. And I liked it because it didn't feel like they couldn't decide how to end it. It felt like they were like, oh, fishin', you're gonna get your ending. Nope, not yet. And that, as a viewer, made me excited because it kept giving Iris another chance. It also kept taking chances away from her. I also really liked the visuals of when they were doing the love linking. I liked when they would go to sleep, like when they just bring her back to the house when Patrick goes and gets her, and Kat is stabbed on the couch and Iris is just sat here with her eyes whited over. I loved it. I don't know. I just really like this movie. It wasn't too dark. It was entertaining. It was fun. I could definitely rewatch this. I just really liked it. They were really smart with what they did in the electronics. They were really smart. And I mean, Jack's character, like basically, he seems like such like an awkward little weirdo at the beginning, like innocent almost. And then he just turns into this evil, dark person. Well, is revealed that he's an evil, dark person. And they do that really well in both the dialogue, the storytelling, and his acting. So let me know what you think of this movie below. I personally loved it. I loved it. And yeah, I'm really excited for 2025. For me personally, off to a good start. Love Wolfman, love Companion.